The cabinet to take the last leg of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, which is now counting down to May 29, 2023 handover date, is taking shape. The Senate has screened and confirmed all the 7 ministerial nominees sent by President Muhammadu Buhari to the upper legislative chamber on the 21st of June in accordance with provisions of Section 147 subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended. Now, out of the 7 nominees screened and confirmed by the Senate, who were excused from taking questions from the lawmakers due to their legislative background and experience, in line with the tradition of the Senate. Let me come to you. Since 7 newly confirmed ministers will be replacing those who had sought political ambition. Yeah. What do you think they will be bringing to the table in this last year of the Buhari administration?
Good question. Well, I checked their backgrounds. About 1 or 2 of them have oil and gas background. One is even managing director of oil and gas free trade free zone area. About 2 or 3 of them have been members of the House of Rep. One was even a speaker, and one has been a local government chairman. I'm trying to say that it's not as if they are coming without. One has been speaker and advisor to the president on the House of Rep. So they are coming with something, you know. Though I like to think that what they have, their credential appeals when you consider those who they met or those who left. You know. I haven't said that. I regret to say I don't expect much for 2 reasons. Number 1 reason is that this government is already a lame duck government. They are on the way out, less than 12 months or thereabout. And we have not seen I have personally not seen any overwhelming impact of this government. I have not seen much the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari. So, because everything depends on the leader, you know. I don't see much coming out of them. I don't think he inspired leadership. So everybody, I just see them filling in the gap, just representing their states. Since the Constitution says every state must be represented in the, that's what I expect. That's all. I don't really think anything big is going to happen.
He does not expect much.
Yeah, my thoughts won't depart much from that of Uncle Shote, because to understand the workings of our civil service in Nigeria, these new guys, I don't know when they will be sworn in. They have just been explained. I don't know when they will be sworn in, but I can tell you for free that it take them at least 6 months to settle down in their ministries. And 6 months from now takes us till probably December, and they will be signing off probably April or May. So I don't really expect much. Even those who have been there, only very few ministers out of the 36 or the 37 we have. We can
students.
Yeah, stood out. So these new ones, wish them good luck, but I don't expect any miracle or any big deal from them, especially given the very short time frame. But some people will tell you that, yeah, some of them might excel, but peculiarity of our civil service bureaucracy, was not. The things that you are supposed to know on day one, they will hide some files from you before you even know where the exit door of your office is. Maybe it will take another 1 month. So it's unfortunate that we have brilliant sharps who are supposed to actually excel as ministers and as heads of parastatals, but bureaucracy will not allow them, and the kind of human resources we have in those ministries see themselves as a thing gods, especially the permanent secretaries. Without the permanent secretary is the chief accounting officer of the ministry. The minister is just a ceremonial head. Is the permanent secretary that signs checks. The minister only gives the directive. He only gives the approval. So when some of these guys tell you some files will not move, it will take the intervention of the SGF or the chief of staff to the president. At times you see some permanent secretaries even quarreling, with having misunderstandings with their ministers, and who suffers? Ministry suffers. Nigerians suffer. So I hope this kind of situation will not happen with these new ministers. I hope they can hit the ground running, but I doubt bureaucracy. I mean, if bureaucracy will allow them to have any impacts.
All right, and you also mentioned the time frame, quite short.
Yeah.
Lincoln, is that a determinant, or should we excuse them because of the time frame?
Well, government is supposed to be what is it? A continuous.
Continuum.
Yeah, you know, but we have this. I was a civil servant, so I can understand what
this point of view.
Monji is saying. You know, the minister comes and then says, in less than you have just less than 11 months.
Yeah.
And then he says he has his own ideas, and then he's going to forget about whatever the other person had been doing. Something you should be rounding up, helping to tidy up so that you can live easily. He wants to start initiating things. And then, there's still budget before the end of of December. And then he was thinking of awarding his own contracts in this very short period, you know. And by the time you find, it's not going to be something that will be enduring. It will be a spending spree, just to spend money. Don't forget, they are politicians. And there has been some horse trading. The guy who is representing Ebonyi State, you remember that was the one who stood surety for Pius Anyim Pius. And then when the governor shook him, he told the courts, I'm no longer. But I'm trying to tell you that these people are there for those. Somebody told me that political parties are formed to advance private interests. I don't need to say anymore.
All right, gentlemen, now let's quickly talk about our screening process for our ministers. And one very important one is not attaching their portfolios. Is this the way to go, considering the fact that we are clamoring for a better Nigeria? If this hasn't worked for us in the past years, shouldn't we look for an alternative?
We have said this several times, like Mr. Ashote said, we already have we already have an idea of the background of some of these ministers. So why not attach portfolios so that it will assist the Senate to actually ask them questions?
Questions,
direct
and not
questions,
general
not
questions.
Just general questions. I mean, like we've had instances where they will ask a minister to be, reciting the national anthem. Is that why he's going to be a minister? You can say, well, it's a particular patriotic stuff, but then that is not. It's not going to be teaching people how to recite the national anthem, or issues like that. So, but can't be asking general questions. So, if portfolio, we have said severally that portfolios should be attached, and I don't see any big deal. The president knows how many ministries are vacant. He knows who and who to put there. So the moment you are hiring somebody as a minister, before you send the name to the assembly, you should attach the portfolio. But then it doesn't happen only at the federal level, even at the state levels. Names of commissioners are sent to the State House of Assembly. Or rather, commissioners designate are sent to the State House of Assembly without portfolios. So, except Governor Soludo, who came with a bit of a difference. I mean, he had interviews. People actually applied to the commissioners.
That's the way to go.
And, I mean, you have to hit the ministry you want to superintend. So, and he only stopped short of giving the portfolios, but then most of them know where they didn't know where they would be going before he sent the list to the assembly. So I think we should have that kind of radical departure where we have names attached, portfolios of commissioners then designate and ministers designate. It would be it would make the job easier for the National Assembly during the screening.
All right, Eko, 3 of the nominees were asked to take a bow and go due to their legislative background, and this is quite customary of the Senate. But this has not really taken us far, and Nigerians are saying we need to have proper access to. We need to properly assess our potential ministers.
It's still in line with your previous question about not attaching portfolios. You see, I'm sorry to what I want to say. I think a lot of people who come to governance in Nigeria are not prepared for the position as president or as governors. Because if you knew what you were going to do, if you developed your manifesto, remember our president was saying that there are some things that the APC promised that he never promised. It was a party that promised. It's telling you that the idea I get is somebody who is not prepared for the job that he's getting. And therefore, he does not even, I imagine that, I think it's in, which country is it now? They are now appointing shadow, I think one political party is now trying, NNPP or so,
yes,
is
NNPP.
saying, okay, let's have shadow ministers. You examine this ministry, so that if we became the governing party, then you come armed with information, you are current about what is happening in that ministry. The president or governor must know what he has, his own program. And then when he's bringing people in, he already knows what each person is going to contribute. That is the way it should be. Now somebody now comes in, and then like somebody, they ask him what is the technicalities of something, and he's now describing something else. Do you understand? And which shows he's not prepared for the job. So when you bring people in and then take a bow, is that an assessment? People are supposed to come in for assessment. Yeah. Because somebody is Bola Ige, you say just take a bow and go and sit down. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? And then that now becomes the tradition of this dispensation. Somebody must ask this to stop. You need to know who you are, and we need to know your competence. We need to have an idea of where you are likely to end up as a minister, even if there is change of cabinet at the end of the day, portfolio at the end of the day. Somehow we need to know what you are going to contribute to that government, to that cabinet.